Hi, this is Michael from Inward. I'm a sales recruiter, and specifically today, it appears I'm an ERP sales recruiter because I'm here to talk to you about a number of different ERP sales roles. And you can see on the screen there's 4 roles here, and they start with the highest paying first all the way down to the last, and they are in the SAP and Oracle space, and then we're going to talk about a supply chain role. So company number 1, it's paying 100 base, 200 OTE, or up to 100 base I should say, and I'll go on to the requirement in a moment. They are a massive worldwide organisation with more than 4,000 employees, and clearly in the SAP space, which is what they're selling, a lot of that is going to be about the consulting engine that you have behind you. You know, they might sell the license, but actually they're really bothered about selling their consulting engine. They sell cross-vertically. It's a new business role. Typical first order is around £1 million. They work very, very closely with SAP because whilst SAP are important to them, clearly they're important to SAP because without the consultant you can't sell the software. So working and generating new business with the vendor is important here. What they're looking for is somebody from the ERP space. Could be that you are in the tier 1 space, and in my opinion that's just Oracle and SAP. I'm sure many people will disagree with me and include companies like Microsoft, Infor, IFS, whoever else. But actually, if you worked in the tier 2 space, so if you worked in SAP B1 or Epicor or Microsoft Group BC, these guys will consider that background. And I think it's important to say that as 21 years sales recruitment experience that I have, I think often getting into the bigger deal sizes is where people start making more and more and more money. They are completely open on the market vertical that you've sold to, and they really want somebody who's good at new business. Given the size of these deals, this isn't a phone bashing job. This is more about working with the vendor, hand-picking strategic accounts and working with those new business accounts. Second role is in the Oracle market. This is paying between 70 to 90k basic, 170k OTE. The company is one of, I think, the very few UK businesses that can provide the full Oracle solution stack. So out of those 40 plus partners in the UK, a lot of those companies will provide one part of the Oracle jigsaw. They might just provide database or just provide EPM or whatever it might be, whereas these guys can do the full bit: database, ERP, HCM, and all the other ancillary applications that Oracle has. It's selling cross vertically. It's a new business role. This will be working with Oracle an awful lot to generate that new business. Typical first year order value is around £500,000. What they're looking for is somebody again from the ERP space. Could be tier 1, could be tier 2, and you could be working for a vendor, you could be working for a reseller in the consulting market. Very open in terms of the market that they would consider somebody from, and the role is a new business role. And again, this will be working with Oracle, so somebody that's used to working with the vendor to then work with and get into some strategically chosen new business accounts. The third role is paying 80 base, 160 OTE. This is in the SAP B1 market. They sell into the professional service market by and large. They rarely sell to manufacturing. It's more services companies. It's a new business role, and its typical order value is around 250k. Now, interestingly, I've put market leader ? I think if we put a poll on LinkedIn and said who's the market leader for SAP B1, the poll would just be completely split. And understandably why, because there are quite a few players in that market. However, if we were realistic about it and you put a point and said, right, let's look at the following characteristics: size, country cover, so how worldwide spread are we, amount of investment, reference sites, size of sales team, really you'd have to consider these guys to be a market leader. There's no two ways about it. What they're looking for is somebody who is from the ERP market. They may consider somebody who has sold FMS, so financial management software. So for example, if you've worked at, like an Advanced as an example, do they sell ERP or do they sell FMS, financial management software? Well, it's a moot point. I'm sure a spokesperson for Advanced would point me in the right direction. But actually these guys, this client would look at somebody who had sold financial management software. Fairly open in terms of the market that you have sold to, and they do want a new business salesperson. There is good marketing support here, and they do have a strong sales function, but at some point somebody has got to get into that end user client, and that's what they're looking for. The fourth role is a supply chain company. Now, I've been a bit cheeky putting the supply chain role in here, but I'll go on to why that's the case. The company is a massive business with a massive product stack. And they sell into companies with quite big supply chains. So the client was explaining to me that they've just won a deal with one of the major supermarket brands. So that deal was worth about £500,000 for the first piece of new business. And I said to him, how much of the supply chain do you reckon you've covered for that company? He said probably 5%. And when you look at their solution stack, it's gigantic. And the supermarket is a great example, because when the stuff gets delivered to your door, there's food from all over the world, different perishability, and all those companies have got their own supply chains. These guys integrate into all of those supply chains. What they're looking for is anything supply chain related would be fine. So it could be proof of delivery, it could be straight supply chain software, but actually he's quite interested in somebody that's sold ERP. And I think if you're an ERP salesperson, whilst the ERP market is strong, and I've just talked to you about 3 roles, I think also the supply chain market takes you in a slightly different direction. The product suite is very vast, deals with lots of different pieces, and that might be an interesting thing to consider. They're open to the market that you sold, and they do want a new business salesperson. If you're interested in any of these roles, my contact details are on the screen. Also, as I alluded to at the start of this, I don't just place ERP salespeople. I do place AI, low-code, automation, workflow. So actually some of the guys in the ERP market are trying to step into some of those other technology pieces, so do bear that in mind. Thank you.